Hello, everybody, and welcome into the 2025 IEN Spring season powered by LandFest. We've got an exciting race for you here today, but before we crack into it, I got to introduce the legend to my digital right here. Logan, how are we feeling today, brother?
I am absolutely fantastic, hot sauce, but this is the way we wake up in the morning. Man, I'm just trying to drop it like it's hot to keep up with your sauce, and I am so glad to be back with you. Respect the stash. Look, I always say I've got one of the best mustaches in the business, but you know what? You win the mortal mustache competition. Dun, 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 dun. Look at that thing. That is so beautiful. Does it have its own area code? How does it work?
Hey, I love you, and I appreciate you, brother. You know, I should apply maybe for its own area code, but speaking of other great things, we need to give a shout-out to Zotac before we get in here today. So I want to give a huge shout-out to Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you here and showcase the amazing young talent in Scholastic Esports. So don't forget, you can show your appreciation to Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout-out on social media. Make sure you join their Discord. And when you do that, remember to use hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag Zotac USA.
Save a little bit of that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, right before we get to the racing and we put the IEN pedal to the metal, I got to introduce somebody. Not only is he the one who makes it all happen behind the scenes, he's in charge of the whole shebang. He also is a band teacher. His name is Drew Rhoda. Welcome to the broadcast, my friend.
Oh my gosh, guys, like the Backstreet Boys once said, oh my God, we're back again. IHSEN iRacing from the Indiana Esports Network. It is awesome to be here, guys.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you back. I know I'm excited here today. And, we talked a little bit before we got things going. These top three spots really kind of locked in place here. Alex sitting very, very pretty. Just a couple of races left, excluding that all-star race that's coming up after this one here as well. But thoughts on today?
Well, first and foremost, Alex is sitting really pretty because, look, there's only 76 points that you can max out in each individual race. And if you do the math, and I didn't break out the abacus because Drew was nice enough to do it for us, but really, Alex only has to beat Zach by 5 points to lock it, drop it, and get it set. Look, Carmel has they have won each and every single season since you have started this iRacing in the Indiana Esports Network back in 2022. They've won each and every single one. And now Alex has a chance to bring home numero tres. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to give him over 50% of the wins for this championship, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, well, and we talked about how Alex has gotten a bunch of wins, but not one in 2025 just yet. So he could complete that three-peat. And as Drew had kind of informed us, the last time he was had one was on this track back in November.
Back here, and I do believe November 14th. Drew, can you tell us what it's looked like? What does the scene look like since November 14th? After we took the break, we've gotten back into 2025. What's happening since we've turned the corner into the new year?
Yeah, so, I think the big thing for us is that we added a couple new drivers. This happened last year. Park Tudor joins us, and gosh, whatever's in the water down there, they're growing some sim racers. Let me tell you, those guys are amazing. So Park Tudor has had a driver leading on the last lap in all 4 races, not necessarily brand new to the league. They take the fall off because they're in real life karting, right? Running race cars in the real world, and they use iRacing as a little bit their off-season training. They come in here, and it's absolutely been a reign of terror from Park Tudor. We'll see if that continues today, and whether or not a Park Tudor driver comes in first, and maybe Alex is able to grab that three-peat.
Well, King Vaughn Beasley, who you might be talking about there. Look, if he's done any of his research, he knows that the Tudors have a very, very strong, majestic background, and hopefully he can make that a winning part of his command because let me tell you, he's got something going on here. Look, 1 through 3 is locked, but 4 through 8 is only separated by 30 points. So literally, we could have a Tudor with a little bit of a late start in 4th place at the end of this season.
Yeah, honestly, you talked about King Vaughn there and the success that he's had in this season, winning 2 of those 4 races, leading in 4 of them. I know in race 3, unfortunately, had ran out of fuel there a little bit. So Lessons that we all have to learn sometimes, but certainly a player or a racer to look out for here.
Yes, definitely. And one of the other problems that they had was it got into a little bit, they were racing so fast. And the reason that the kids call him King Vaughn is because he is fast. But sometimes you got to know your role and slow your roll a little bit, because it doesn't matter who's winning in the last lap if you can't finish the race. And he went and got involved with some racers that he was about to lap. I wasn't there, so I don't necessarily know if he needed to do that, but it caused him to wreck into the wall at the end. So what he's got to do is keep it locked in, keep it focused, and understand that if you don't finish first, well, just don't finish last. Look, you just got to finish.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean that's a valid point, even for Alex as well. Sorry, Drew, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
no, sorry about that, guys. I think that just goes to speak to Alex Jones and his ability to put together a championship. He hasn't necessarily finished first in every race. He's won
No.
some races. He's been on the top step, but he has absolutely been able to back off and know in that fight with Drew, I think there was a time where he could have made it risky. He could have put his car on the line, and maybe he wrecks it, maybe he doesn't. Chose not to do that, backs out, loses the battle, but maybe today he wins the war.
Well, the last time he won was in November, like we said, hot sauce. And we are in a majestic and the second time I've used that today, so fill out your bingo cards. But a legendary, and I hope you're not lactose intolerant because it does involve dairy, course. This speedway has been around since 1960, was part of the biggest 600-mile race, bro. I mean, how do you even get in a car for that? I don't even like taking trips to Buffalo, let alone go that far in a car. But look, it is a 17-turn, 2.28 mile Roval. And that, if you're wondering what Roval is, if you're at home going, what's a Roval? Are they making stuff up over there? No, it's just road meets oval, kids. That's all it is. But look, in 2018, they were able to put this the center area in there, that little infield partition, if you will, and it's made a little bit of a difference and have been allowed them to really take part in the NASCAR as well. What are we looking for from these kids driving the Mazda Miatas, aka if you're in Europe, the MX-5s?
Yeah, I think for these guys, they're not new to the cars. These cars have been driven for us all season. And I think just trying to get out there to stay comfortable. It is an interesting track because there's a more technical middle section and then a pretty fast and wild oval section on the outside that actually encompasses a couple chicanes, but it encompasses the actual Charlotte Oval as it sees. I think you're going to find that some drivers are going to be a little stronger on the inside and some drivers are going to be a little stronger on the outside. Let's just see who can put it all together to make a great race.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a little bit of nostalgia here for me. Back when it was the Charlotte Motor Speedway for probably about 8 years, every year, my grandparents took me and a cousin down to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So always enjoyed going to this track. I got to watch Lugnut ramp over like 100 Porta Johns in a Winnebago. So I've been here and seen it in person. So to kind of come full circle many years later is awesome.
Well, that might have been a first for the racetrack overall, because they do have a lot of firsts. They were first super speedway to install lights so you could race at night. The first track to give away naming rights, by the way, and allow somebody to put their name on the track. And also the first track to have the first year-round club. And just like 50 Cent said, bottle full of bum, mama, I got what you need. We got year-round clubbing here at the racetrack.
Year-round clubbing as we take a look here, getting a little practice action in, and already, I mean, we saw one car spin out there a little bit ago, but I know last year we talked to you, Drew, a little bit as we were kind of getting going, and there were a lot more wrecks, although we didn't see one in our race. How have things been this year?
You know what? I got to hand it to the guys. We first started this 4 years ago. Kids were really struggling to adapt. We came from a different sim platform, not iRacing, and it was a little more arcadey, not as simmy as you might say. The simulation in iRacing is really robust. It's really difficult to get a handle on. And we came into this and we had some major issues. And I'll tell you, this season we get better and better race in and race out. I got nothing but great things to say about our guys coming through here and their excellent jobs that they're doing.
Well, I've said it before. Rubbin is racing because Tom Cruise said it, but not in iRacing. That's a little bit more NASCAR oriented. Here, you actually need to look out for your fellow racers. It's on you to make safe passes, and you can lose points for doing just the opposite.
Honestly, I like the fact that they're starting with only 18% fuel as well. I think, pit
Yes.
stops obviously an important part of the race. So I'm glad that that's included here as well. We kind of mentioned a little bit about that earlier, but obviously no requirements for the tires in this race.
Nope.
A couple interesting things that come into play.
So they will have to pit, and they can pit anytime they want. But I believe Drew would have us understand that around the 8-minute mark is when a lot of people are going to be looking at their gas tanks, going, "Oh, we're a little low. Get low. I'm gonna need to gas up here." Right around that 8-minute mark.
That's kind of where they go. I will say that's a particular strength of Alex Jones. Last week he pitted early. He did so because he found himself in a little bit of lap traffic, a little bit of a battle. By pitting early, that then allowed him to get out back into clean air, run some really great laps, and it propelled him. He was running in third, fourth, maybe fifth place, but ends up in a battle for second right there at the end, and then it turned into a battle for first. All because of when he decided to take his pit stop. So we'll see what drivers do and how it works for him.
Now, we've been talking a lot about Alex, but let's talk about his brother in over there, Zach and Aiden. They are currently right behind him in the standings, in the finals, and actually in this practice as well. Alex only needs to beat Zach by 5 points. We talked about it in the past, but Aiden, Zach, and Alex are locked in. One of them is going to win first. One of them will win second, and one of them will win third. We just don't know the exact order as it may be currently.
Absolutely. I struggle to see a scenario, except one where Alex is sick, that he is unable to clinch this championship. I think the question is not if, but when. And my guess is that'll be today.
Yeah.
Even if he comes in, 25th place, he's still going to have a mountain of points on his teammates. So maybe he clinches today, maybe he doesn't, but I don't know. I don't want to never say never, but it'd be pretty tough for him.
Well, let's get into the minutia for just 1 second, and then throw it back to hot sauce. Alex is in first place in the league standings after 10 with 495 points. Zach is the closest to him, but he is 72 points behind him. And let's do the math once again. The most points you can get in one match is, everybody?
76?
76.
There you go. So, look, they've got their work cut out for them, is where Aiden is behind Zach by 93 points. So they've got an even higher struggle to get to reach that summit. But Zach can be a little bit of a boo-hoo for Alex this race if he wants to. But I do agree with you in the fact that Alex is going to pull this out. Hot sauce, do you see him doing it today?
I think he has certainly a very good chance just because the last race he won was on this track as well. For me, I'm going to kind of keep my eye on Pablo, though. I don't know why. I just got a feeling we got to see a little bit of him last year as well. We talked about often splitting some of that time with other teammates, so maybe only getting half the races, but still doing exponentially very well on the leaderboard. So for me, I think Pablo is going to be my sleeper pick, but because Alex has done so well on this track traditionally, I feel like he most likely is going to clinch that championship here today.
Well, and Pablo is in that battle for fourth place. 4th through 8, once again, is only separated by 30 points, and Pablo is sitting pretty in 8th place. So he is in that battle right now. Currently, he could be our 4th place finisher if he keeps up the good work like you think they will. Drew, how do you feel about Pablo's chances?
Pablo's been doing some great work for us all year, and I think the big thing about Pablo as a driver, he is incredibly mature, right? So as he's coming through races, even though he's kind of a first-year member for us, he races like kind of an elder statesman here. I think he's going to do really well today. This track kind of favors that ability of win the battle or win the war, not necessarily the battle. I think it's mentality-wise fits out with Pablo well. So let's see how the day unfolds.
Oh, we'll have to see how it unfolds here today again on Charlotte Roval, a track I'm excited to get to see. I know last time we had a more of a road course that we were watching, so a little bit more excited for this mostly oval track here in North Carolina?
It is mostly oval, but that infield, as we'll call it,
Hmm.
that's going to mess some people up. It's definitely more of a road race in that middle section over there. The real question is going to be who's going to be able to use the apex, track in, get that lap out, and make sure that they're using these corners to the best of their ability and they're using the car to the best of their ability. They do not need to get ahead of themselves. This is a race, but you do not have to be going super, super fast because if you just hit a wall, guess what? You ain't going anywhere real quick. So as I'm watching everybody practice, I do see everybody taking their time, getting to know these turns. That last chicane there is going to be a real heartbreaker, I feel like, when we get into that last lap. When it hits zeros and everybody's racing to the finish, that last chicane will give us a real great break step to see who can make it happen in the turn.
Yeah, right around that 15, 16 there. That's the one I've been keeping my eye on as well. I think things could certainly get very interesting there. And honestly, I want to see how well, obviously Alex, Zach, Aiden competing against each other, but on the same school. A lot of times, when you're in the front of the pack, you're able to kind of work together, drift with each other, and use that momentum. So I'm interested to see if these three racers are going to kind of work together or if they're going to be fighting for that first place.
Well, currently, King Vaughn has the fastest lap in practice right now. So he is keeping his namesake true to spirit and being the fastest person on the track. But like we mentioned previously, they have had issues within that last lap. So it's not just enough to lead the entire race. You got to finish that race. And Drew, what are you seeing out of these kids in practice right now? You seeing some good passage? You seeing some smart racing?
Well, I think the biggest thing I'm seeing is that if you look over there on your overlay, you Park Tutor 1, Park Tutor 2, Park
Yep.
Tutor 3. That's a clean sweep from Park Tutor. Then you see two Carmel drivers, Carmel Alex, 4. As long as Alex finishes in front of Zach today,
Yes.
he comes away with another championship. Doesn't have to win the race, has to beat his teammate, and I think that's huge.
Yeah, you know what, hot sauce, is that gonna create a little bit of rivalry out there? Because a lot of racers like to use their teammates to help them drift and make sure that they're sticking and being a real stoppage for maybe somebody else who's getting some momentum behind them. Do you think that that's going to be a problem for them, or do you think it'll help them out in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, if it were me, I have that competitiveness, so I'd want to
Right.
beat my teammate. But at the same time, they are smart racers. I don't think they're going to do anything that's too crazy that would cause a wreck amongst themselves and really hurt their team as a whole. So I think it does up that competitiveness spirit. But I think they're going to maintain to the true racing style that they're used to and still do smart racing while looking to grab that win.
And smart racing is what will get you there. Do you think it's easier on an oval track to keep the momentum and race smart as opposed to these road tracks that can get a little bit of iffy?
I think from a driver's standpoint, you do lull yourself into a false sense of security because you have these big, sweeping oval turns that it's really easy to switch off a little bit. And I think that's why I love those chicanes, both in the front and the back. That really you got to be paying attention. You got to focus. You miss that braking zone, and all of a sudden, as we see a Carmel driver find a sausage curb and put two wheels in the air, I think that's a real wake up call for a lot of those guys. As Vaughn turns yet another fastest lap at a 1:31.4. Guys, if you take a look at your timing screens, you'll look at and see that Vaughn is currently 1.1 seconds faster than Carmel Aiden. That's a huge gap.
That is a big gap. And you know what? Currently sitting in second place, you've got Drew. And you told me earlier that Drew's had a little bit of a hard go trying to get to that podium finish. He's been more of a bridesmaid, less of a bride. Well, hopefully he can kill Bill and become a bride with revenge today and make a podium stand. How do you think it's looking for Drew? Currently, obviously, hold on a second. We've got a new fastest lap.
Absolutely.
It's the opposite of cast or curse, by the way.
Yes, good for you guys. Keep doing that. Yeah. So that's park tutor Andrew. Drew, that we're talking about a little bit of a Cinderella story from last week, is currently running in 7th. It's from Pike High School.
Okay.
So he's about 1.7 seconds back. But, they're in the mix with the Carmel drivers. It's 3 park tutor, 3 Carmel. And then as our Aiden takes a little bit of a interesting line through the chicane.
Yeah, interesting would be a nice way to do it. You know what? Look, if you take those chicanes too fast and you catch air, these cars are not necessarily meant to catch air, okay? We're not doing jumps. This isn't a nitro circus over here. So the more that your tires keep to the pavement, the better off you generally are. And I think he just lost control because he got a little bit of a bump and a slump and a jump.
Yeah, it looked like MHS Bladen had ran into the back of him there, but kind of going back to the park tutor thing here and seeing that they're in the top 3, I think for Carmel as well, even though it is a 1.2, it's, more than a second, a pretty big deficit, because they have that top 3 leading position by more than a couple hundred points. I feel like they can be comfortable kind of racing in that position. They don't have to push it to the extreme too much, whereas they can kind of just race the race that they want to race and just ensure that they finish in one of those top 10, 15 positions.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a little bit of Sunday driving right now, it feels like. And Drew had mentioned it earlier. Everybody gets lulls themselves into a little bit of a false sense of security there as we hit those straightaways. Great pass on the inside right there. That's how you get it done, Drew.
Absolutely. I think one of the things about iRacing is that the tire model itself, the track will continue to rubber in. So we will see sometimes, tumble a little bit if they can, as we ride on board here with Annabelle from Hobart High School. And so because the tire starts to wear into the track, you're starting to get a little bit more traction. You can really push it. I think a lot of these guys at the top, we're going to see sometimes continue to come down as they get more and more comfortable out there.
Well, they got to get comfortable fairly soon. Just about 5 minutes left here of this practice run before we get ready to get into it. Vaughn still with that fastest lap, and now another one from Vaughn here at 1:31.404.
Yeah, making it look easy, getting it done. Andrew's still in the race, and, Jacob's only a half a second behind. But once we get back there into the Carmel guys, and we've got Aiden, Alex, and Zach respectively, and they're all 1.2 seconds plus behind Vaughn right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about with that comfortability of just kind of racing the race they want to race. You saw Alex at 495 points, and in those top 3 all within 100. But after that, you're looking at 251 plus. So they don't really have to get too crazy or force a position that they don't need. They just have to race a smart race and I guess finish, hopefully in that top 10.
And that's definitely going to put a damper on Jacob's donut as he just pulled the donut there. And that is definitely going to take him out of this lap. But it's okay because it's just practice. We're talking about practice. We're not talking about a game. No, we're talking about practice right now. We will get into the game in just about 4 minutes. It's going to be a 20-minute race. We are going to have a rolling start, by the way, which is I enjoy a good rolling start, kids.
So rolling starts are for actual over races. So this is a standing start on this one.
Oh, it is. I apologize.
I'll be honest. You guys might like a rolling start. It is the scariest thing as you watch from my perspective as the league coordinator is these kids within mere inches of each other as they're going, please don't crash the cars, fellas. So I'm thankful we're standing start today.
Well, they just got their real-life driver's license. Some of them don't even have a learner's permit, probably. So, they get to get out here, and it's kind of like a golf cart, except it's electronic, and we're all safe inside the electronic Indiana Esports Network. We got this as we check in on your guy, Pablo, Hot Sauce.
Hey, I love to see it. Pablo out here putting some work in on the track here as well. And honestly, I think it's interesting, too. I'm glad you shared that earlier, Drew, that some of these students kind of use this as their off season for the actual physical on kart track stuff as well. So it's a fun little tidbit.
Well, during the pandemic, we saw a lot of professional racers get into a rig, and we had professional racing leagues go completely electronic, which I think was really great for the sport, and it created an awareness that some of these kids probably started watching it during that time and probably fell in love with it. Drew, do you find that's part of the case?
Guys, that's how I got into this thing. That's how I got into sim racing. It was a pandemic project. I always was interested in motorsport, but I couldn't participate. You know, kids that are interested in playing basketball or football, they watch the NFL, but they also play football in high school. And that's pretty difficult to get into a real life race car. But I tell you what, for a couple $100 or whatever I told my wife it cost, I was able to get myself a wheel, and here I am. This has been a whole lot of fun for me. As a couple Ben Davis drivers have a meeting there on track, a little staff meeting.
I think they were talking about their favorite barbecue recipes, and they will definitely get into that afterwards.
Absolutely.
All right.
And a little saucy.
We're down to less than 2 minutes. Hot Sauce, you've seen some practice. You've seen a lot of racing in your time. You've got the most beautiful mustache out here today. What have you seen from these kids, and what are we expecting? Do you think Vaughn's going to be able to keep it up, or are these Carmel kids going to catch the Tudor kids?
I don't know. King Vaughn looking very dangerous. The name certainly very suiting. And again, playing very well with the teammates as well. For Carmel, I think that they might not want to challenge it as much. They don't want to risk trading paint, having a DQ or damaging the car, falling so far to the back of the pack that you can't get to the front. So I think that they're maybe a little less willing to challenge today because they know they have the point lead. And again, Alex can solidify the championship, the three-peat here today, just by racing smart.
Yeah, well, forget about competitiveness. Take that out of the equation. Drew, is there a reason for Carmel to actually put the pedal to the metal and get involved in this race, or can they just sit back and take it even flow and have it be like a Sunday drive?
Yeah, I think that really just that goes to show. When you work with kids, it's a really up and down. You can tell the kids all you want to. All right, guys, you don't have to win this race. But I tell you what, that checkered green flag waves, and those kids see red, and it doesn't matter if they would finish last. Those kids will absolutely wreck out. That way they can come in first. So we'll see how it goes. Do they need to come in and beat any of these guys? They do not need to, but I bet they're going to try if I know these kids like I think I know these kids. It's going to be a great race today, fellas.
All right.
Absolutely love to hear it. I mean, that would be a problem that I would have too. I can't sit back and be comfortable with a second or third place when I have the ability to take first. So I can understand that want and that will to win. You certainly love to see it amongst the young talent.
Yeah, and we're seeing practice come to an end as we see a very, very wide track out for Frank right there. And on that particular turn, we did see a lot of racers going wide. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust within the actual race. Now we're about to get into it. Vaughn with the fastest lap, 1 minute, 31 seconds, and 0.248. Andrew coming in a 0.218 plus, and Jacob with the devil's call over there with a 0.666. So Jacob settled down over there, but Park Tudor is in full command of this the practice, and the ironic part is the Carmel kids are right behind him.
Yeah, right behind them. That's really where they need to be. Honestly, it'll be enough, again, as long as Alex is able to beat Zach there by 5 points. It'll be enough for him to clinch that championship here in Charlotte as well. So I think we're going to see a lot of that smart racing. But as Drew said, once that flag drops, things tend to go out the window sometimes. So I think it'll make things very interesting, very exciting.
Yeah, in fighting, they always say game plans go out the window the first time you get punched in the face. Well, the first time you see somebody's tail lights in front of you, I think you'll wake up just a little bit.
That's what we're going to see. Unfortunately for Bladen here, spinning out a little bit in this qualifying round as we see some of these cars flying by here for the time being, and a little squirrely around this turn more specifically here. We knew there was a couple tricky parts of this track, so braking going to be key in some of those late stretches there.
Yeah, as we're checking in on Drew, currently rolling through Drew. Like to see it in second place. We do have a qualifying, they do have 10 minutes to qualify. A little rub in his race in there, little bump and grind. That wasn't looking too clean there, but they're able to make the pass on the outside.
Just trying to get that best angle, trying to find the inside of those turns there and keep that momentum rolling, hoping to not slow down too much. But sometimes you get a little squirrely and end up in the air. But luckily for them, we've had practice out of the way. We've hopefully got some of those kinks out of the way now, looking to qualify here and get set and ready to lock in for the race.
Now, as far as qualifying is concerned, Drew, we're seeing a lot of spin outs. We're seeing a lot more craziness on the track. Do the kids turn it up a little bit higher for qualifying? And then, I mean, every time I turn around now, we're seeing somebody get squirrely, as my friend Hot Sauce said.
I think there's something to be said in the importance of doing activities like esports. There's something to be said for the mentality of, in practice, it didn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what time you turn, but now you have 7. You see that timer clicking down, and you've got the crew chief in your ear from iRacing telling you how much time you have left, and then all of a sudden, every lap matters. It's a whole lot different than it was when it was just out there having a little Sunday drive. And so I think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing guys that are pushing, guys that are trying to be the best versions of themselves. And I think at some level mentally, as we see Ben from Mooresville have too much damage, but I got meatballed there.
Well, Ben got pushed. Ben got pushed. That wasn't all Ben's doing there. There's a little behind. I would say an encouraging push from behind for Ben.
That's right.
This man's tattletaling out here now.
Hey, I call him the way I see him.
Yeah. No, that's fair for sure. But yeah, definitely a lot more overzealous driving here as far as the qualifier rounds go. We have certainly seen a lot more spin outs, but maybe that can kind of bring them down just a little bit before they head into this race. But right now, Jacob from Park Tudor is going to get that fastest lap time.
As we're checking in on King Vaughn inside right there. Hitting that chicane, getting it done, getting a little bit of air, but able to stay off of the wall. Man,
love it.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And you know what? These kids gotta be loving it as well. I mean, getting inside one of these rigs and doing it. I mean, we've got rigs at the HyperX Arena, and I get to race F1 races every single week for fun. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot harder than you think it is, kids.
Yeah, we see King Vaughn navigating through. We talked about in that previous race where he was trying to lap some drivers and ended up going into the wall, but we see him navigating through these cars very, very well, maintaining a high speed as well. And I gotta say, I love these onboard cams as well.
Yeah, you gotta love looking in on them and seeing exactly how their hands are working and where they're transpiring, if they're downshifting, if they're hitting the brake. Because you know what? There is something to be said about when you need to downshift and when you need to actually brake. Drew, can you let us in on a little bit about that and some of the ways that these kids, how do you help them through that? Do you just send them out there, or do you say, hey, all right, these are the situations that you could be in a race and this is what you do here?
I think luckily, as we look at the top of the league, we see some guys that are pretty involved in iRacing. But this is not the only activity that they have. And so they're doing a lot. There's a ton of great resources online for anybody that's interested in sim racing and how you can get faster. There's some incredible telemetry that comes out there. You see, what driving lines you take and how fast you can push, where to shift, where to brake. As Vaughn's trying to get through the chicane there, crosses the timing lines, although I think he might be, he hasn't. The top of the sheet, 131.288 on is at the top, and that was surprising to me. I thought going through that chicane, he went a little airborne, lost some traction, so I think he's got some more time to give there, even though the lap was incredibly fast. The thing I think that impressed me the most about these kids is that they are so generous with their knowledge. They recognize that sim racing isn't hugely popular in their school, not like football, basketball, softball is. And these guys are out there helping each other. You saw that last race. The guy, new word, the league getting in there and making some rookie mistakes. The guys coming back at him saying, hey, try this. Hey, why don't you, this is how you map that button. And helping their competitors out, but also recognizing this is a little bit of a family here in the Indiana Sports Network.
And we just saw Vaughn, a little bit of that oversteering there, but you know what? It fell right into place. So Vaughn obviously knowing what they're doing. But to your point, one of the best things you can do for your race and your racing career is to go through the iRacing videos. They have about 26 to 33 videos that will take you step by step through what it means to be in iRacing. And as you get to some of these advanced skill levels, they break that stuff down as well. but it talks about track out and turn in and apex and how you need to be cognizant of those things and how you can best utilize them, that knowledge to your advantage on the racetrack. Hot sauce. Man, it's getting hot in her.
It is. I mean, Vaughn able to pass up his teammate for that fastest lap. You take a look at that 3rd and 5th position there. We talked about Alex needing to beat Zach by at least 5 points here, but right now Zach leading in this qualifier by about 0.8 seconds in front of Alex. So I think the competition might just be heating up a bit here.
Well, as Mean Gene Okerlund used to say, the tension in the air is electric. You could cut it with a knife. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of here, Drew, today, as really Alex is trying to make his way in the world today. It's going to take everything he's got, but he's trying to win his 3rd championship. So there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Now, how do these kids deal with pressure? Do they suck it up and they understand, just like every other sport that they've ever played? As Pablo gets a little squirrely there, but able to save it. Do they understand it's just part of the game? Or have you seen it, under the lights, so to speak, it's taken them out of the moment?
I think you really see, in working with young people, you see all types of emotion that come through. You see kids that are absolutely thrive under pressure, and you see other kids where it really affects them, it gets to them. And so I think, again, I know I sound like a broken record on this, but the importance of esports is not us driving imaginary cars around imaginary racetracks. It's getting kids involved in school, but then also giving them situations. Life is sometimes stressful. Sometimes in life you have to perform. These are great lessons that these kids can take, and we're developing these 21st century competencies in a novel way, and doing something they like to do already, but also reaching them and teaching them as best we can.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing as well, because a lot of times we talk about the physical aspects. We don't talk about the mental enough and the mental fortitude that some of these players have, and sometimes maybe don't have and get to learn from that experience and grow. So we always say there's no losers, there's winners and there's learners.
Oh, absolutely, right? I mean, we can all say that. Look, you just don't get out there and come in first place. It takes Fatality, one of the greatest gamers in the entire world ever. His quote is practice, practice, practice. And you know what? John Wooden said it over at UCLA. Perfect practice makes perfect. And you know what? Both of these great competitors can't be wrong. You got to put in the time.
Got to put in the time. It looks like the students have been doing that, though. We talked about Park Tudor, how well they've done kind of in this season as well. And right now leading the way with the top 2 spots here in qualifying. But we knew it was kind of going to be a back and forth between Park Tudor and Carmel here today. So as we get a little bit closer to this race, I can feel myself scooting a little bit closer to the edge of my seat.
And Pablo on the edge of that chicane, able to keep it up, though. They are currently sitting in 8th place, so they are in this qualifier just the same way they are in the league standings as well, in 8th, as we get to the last 15 seconds of this.
In seconds here to go in this qualifying round, as we take a look on board here with Alex, cruising around these turns, and a solid 100 miles an hour here. I know we've seen a couple up into the 112, 110 area, but again, you got to be careful, especially around these chicanes. We've seen a couple of these cars go a little bit airborne, more specifically this one here, and there's that wall right behind it that follows, but Alex navigating it nicely.
Yeah, really what we gotta talk about right now is Zach. Zach is currently sitting in 3rd place, and the only person that Alex needs to beat to take this league championship is Zach. And Zachary sitting in 3rd place, and right in front of him, those Park Tudor boys looking back in the rearview mirror and chuckling a bit to themselves. King Vaughn with the fastest lap once again. They are the fastest person on this track. I think it goes without saying, but can they finish the race? And here's the thing, Alex doesn't need to compete with King Vaughn. He only needs to compete with his teammate, Zach.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. And so I think I think they might not want to challenge King Vaughn as much out here. But again, going back to what Drew said, it kind of goes out the window once the flag drops. But King Vaughn for a reason, another fastest lap there for them. And obviously, we'd mentioned earlier, won 2 of the last 4. We're leading in the last 4. Had a few minor hiccups there, whether it be out of fuel or bumping into some cars they were lapping. But King Von certainly looking like the racer to beat out here today.
All right. Hey, guys, I want to take an opportunity here, run us through our starting order. This is powered by IEN, the TV overlay for iRacing. They have been so great at making our kids look great. Park Tutor Vaughn, 1. Andrew from Park Tutor in 2. These are the actual liveries that you'll see on track. Carmel Zach in 3 splits the Park Tutor driver. Up Jacob in 4. 5. Alex Carmel, the champ. Will he do it today? Maybe. Aiden starting 6. 7, Pike from Drew. 8, Pablo from Lawrenceburg. 9 is Axel from Ben Davis. Jameson Harrison is in 10th on the grid. 11 is Bladen from Mooresville. 12, Dane from Lake Central. Roberto from Pike, 13. Levi, Union City in 14. Annabelle Hobart, 15. Kendrick from Union City, 16. You know, these guys doing a great job going through, and that looks like that is all of the starting positions that I have so far. If drivers didn't set a representative time, then it won't yet show up.
Well,
So,
you know who else is doing a great job, Drew? Landfest, baby. Wouldn't be here without them. And thanks to Landfest for building a healthy community with over 23 chapters across 18 states and 150 events every year. Do you want to get involved in an existing event? Do you want to host your own event? Well, how you get involved is by going to landfest.com. Go on over there, tell them Logan sent you. And you know what? Pretty soon you're going to be an esports hero as well.
Whew, absolutely love to hear it. Oh, I absolutely love Landfest as well. I've been working with them for many, many years, but I'm excited to get this race underway. King Von looking like the favorite for the time being, but again, we talked about it. Still an opportunity here. Alex doesn't have to beat King Von, just has to get 5 points more than their teammate Zach, who is starting off just a couple positions in front of them.
and
Yeah.
you see cars starting to grid up now. You see a little bit of an awkward start for some of those guys because they're at the back of the chicane. So we'll kind of see how that goes. They're going to ride on board with LC Dane here as we get started. That's going to give us a nice shot of our front row. We'll see those guys get gridded up here shortly, and we are going to get ready for some green flag racing here at the Charlotte Roval.
Well, boogity, 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 boo, let's get to racing. How about you? Put the pedal to the metal. Let's get down like a clown like Charlie Brown and turn your racing frowns upside down, because it is time to find out who will be the best and who will be using their tears to salt their fiery Cheetos while asking their mom, where did it all go wrong? This is the Indiana Esports Network and iRacing, and I am excited. We are here in virtual Charlotte. We are at the Roval, which is just a lot of fun to say.
A lot of fun to say. The green flag will be dropped. They're going to get right into it here as well, looking for that positioning. Coming into this first turn as well, we can hear those engines turning down into the bank, and they got to be careful here as well. We see him braking a little bit, going to force Dane to the outside here, but everybody just doing some early smart racing thus far. On board here with Alex as well. We see him trying to make up some position. Most of that line on that outside, though, looking to gain some speed here for this turn. You can kind of see that track that they often follow there as well, the wear from the tires on the course. Getting a little close to that wall, though, but Alex right now just kind of hanging back in 7th.
As these tires warm up, we will see difference in that. But remember, they do not have to pit for tires, but they are required to pit once for fuel. They're going to start off with 18% fuel, and they will have to pit at some point. So we will see some strategy in that. As Drew had mentioned previously, Alex had used that to his advantage and pitted early when he got caught up in a little bit of traffic. Let's see how their racing IQs bring. Ooh, we got a little bit of rub in his racing over there, and we got 2 players down.
Unfortunately, 2 caught in the turn there, and we see him kind of progressing through. That's going to bump Alex up to 5th here as well.
Guys, that's some big news. So what just happened? That just bumped Carmel Zach, and you can see the standings here. Carmel Zach, that now Alex will gain enough points at 530. Aiden is 86, and Zach is 89. So it's early. I don't want to call anything yet. But Alex finds himself in an opportunity to clinch the three-peat with that very unfortunate coming together at the chicane.
Yeah, let's talk about the points, by the way. For first place, you're going to get 50 points. Second place, 40. It keeps basically going down like that. In qualifying, by the way, Vaughn over there, King Vaughn, got 15 points for qualifying. But there are bonus points, and those are the way that you get up to those 76 points. Most lap lead, you get 5 points. Fastest lap, you get 5 points. And you even get 1 point for lead at least one full lap.
And we'll see if Alex can continue to put the points on board here as we take a look at the standings right now. On board with Alex here as well, fighting around for 4th place. Against the wall, will trade a bit of paint, but able to retain control here and continue to push through the turn, not wanting to get dipped down too low. There is a car just below him. Alex moving up into the next turn here as well, and we see him braking for this chicane. This is the really tricky one here that can be tough to navigate for some of them, but right now not an issue as they continue to kind of maintain that positioning, not wanting to get too close to that car again. Alex just has to finish this race in a decently top position, already ahead of Zach here, but you can take a look at the standings over there. Zach right now 22 points down, or up, sorry.
Absolutely, and I think what we just witnessed right there, so Carmel Alex, a little bit of a battle with Pike Drew, who won the last race. They were 1-2 in the last race. Alex going into the chicane backs out of it. He says, you know what, this is not necessarily my race today. Would I like to come in front of him? Absolutely. There's a little bit of pride on the line. Those guys were chatting with each other today on Discord during the school day, but it shows the maturity from the senior driver from Carmel and Alex to say, you know what, I got 15 minutes to figure this out, and even if it doesn't happen that way, let's not get ourselves out of position early and then have a situation we can't come back from.
And King Vaughn just got another fastest lap. So you know what? Don't count them out. They might currently be in 4th place in the standings, but they're right on your coattails. And if you count them out, you're going to be counting yourself out of a 1st place finish.
Really like this driving from Alex. Again, like you had mentioned, there's just so much time left in this race. You don't have to do anything crazy, and you can see him here. If the opportunity arises and he can find this pass, certainly going to take it. But as we get into some of these tricky turns, not afraid to just hit the brake, go ahead, back off, allow that racer, see there, and he's just going to allow that other racer to make a mistake. Now he can look to capitalize here as well, and that other racer, having that knowledge, going to stick to the outside, give Alex that inside there. So moving up just another position here early in this race.
And that's absolutely what happened as we went through there. We saw Pike Drew too busy watching his mirrors for Alex, and in doing that misses his braking zone and blows straight through that chicane. So not only does he get himself a little bit of a time penalty, he's going to get a slowdown penalty from the sim, he also loses it. Alex didn't have to beat him on track. He psychologically got in there and forced the mistake to come from the driver in front, and that was easy points. No trading paint on that one.
No, they definitely lost some points on that, and in 2 places, like you said, Drew. So you know what? You got to keep your head in it and keep your eyes forward sometimes. Although you do need to see who's in your rear view. As Alex gets a little bit mowing the lawn, and you're not getting paid to mow the lawn today, Alex. Stay on the pavement, please.
And on the pavement, but still has already accumulated 35 points. We talked about needing to be 5 in front of Zach. Zach with 24, Alex with 35. So Alex just doing the job that they need to do at the moment, but you can see now the pressure onto the tail here of Alex, and maybe King Vaughn wanting to push their way up for this front of the pack here as well. But again, Alex he's got an easy race here today if he wants it. We know that competitiveness can kick in, but if he chooses to, he can just kind of sit back and play their game.
Right now he's
makes me hold my breath.
Yeah, I know. I was just holding my breath too, but he's making him play his game right now because he's not getting overzealous. He's not putting the pedal all the way down. He's braking. He's playing smart. He's racing smart. This is what you want to see. This is how you win a league championship.
Absolutely, and we saw Alex come into that last chicane with Drew behind. You saw Drew come right up to the back end. What happens is Alex knows that he doesn't need to be aggressive on this move. It is the driver behind's responsibility to make the pass safely. Alex is able to brake a little earlier because he's running his race. Drew was forced to respond, got him a little bit out of sorts again into that chicane, and the gap now comes back up for that, 4th place position there.
Drew for Pike there in fourth. Still on board here with Alex, currently in fourth. As we see a couple cars in front of them. King Von, though, a nice big lead up there. The fastest lap again, and looks to earn extra points through that way. But right now, both of these players just kind of battle out. We take a look. Both of these players here, or racers, are from Carmel. So we have Alex that we're on board with. We have Aiden just in front of them as well.
Yeah, hey, for fun, let's go see where Vaughn is.
Let's
This
go.
race, it's lonely at the top, isn't it? He is. That's not a typo. 12 seconds in front of everybody else behind.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that on there, I noticed that I couldn't see that first car up in front of Alex, but we saw King Von stringing, fast lap after fast lap, currently beating his own fast lap in those practice and qualifiers, and really putting all that work to good use here now that the race has come into fruition. 12 minutes left on the clock, but just putting up a ton of great laps here.
You could just barely see the very next car, which is parked near Jacob, his teammate, as he went through that last turn on the oval banking. That's how far in front Vaughn is. Uh-oh. Alex is dropping.
Uh-oh.
Looks like he took a spin.
Yeah, he passed Aiden for just a second, and then must have lost control because we saw Aiden immediately pass him back. Then Drew passed him up as well. So Alex getting a little bit rough there, but able to get back on the track, still in 5th place and still in front of Zach here as well. So all in all, maybe stumbling a little bit, but looking to find their stride yet here again.
Yeah, still in front of Zach. So you know what? Alex just has to take a deep breath, a little bit of a woo-saw moment for them, and understand that the pressure's on, but you know what? They don't have to roll with the pressure. They can let everybody else feel that pressure, and they just need to roll their race right now. They're in 5th place. Yeah, they fell back, but they still just need to beat Zach, and they are currently 4 points in front of Zach. Well, as long as they can stay ahead of Zach in the points, as we just saw, yeah, that could have been dangerous right there. IRL, that would have been real dangerous. But Alex still winning, still beating Zach, but winning in the standings for the league championship, whereas Vaughn, no one's catching that dude right now.
Yeah, and we talked about it, right? He has to beat Alex by 5 points, but you take a look at the standings over there on the right side of your screen, and that number is dwindling there for Alex. That lead is now dropped to just 3 points in front of him, so not quite where they need to be to clinch this victory here. We'll get another fastest lap from Vaughn. King Vaughn yet again, 1:31.635.
I mean, that fastest lap, guys, is so much faster. According to my timing screens, 1:31.6 is Vaughn's fastest lap. The next person is at 1:32.3, and that's a Park Tutor driver.
Yeah.
The Carmel guys are at 1:34. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, they're rolling at plus 28 on that fastest lap right now as far as Alex is concerned. So Vaughn's really putting that pedal to the metal and getting it done and not being scared to do so.
Well, they call him King Von for a reason. He's led in the last 4 races and won 2 of them for a reason. Certainly putting those talents on a showcase here for us today, and we certainly appreciate the action. Jacob, Park Tutor as well in second, 14 seconds behind, and then we talked about it. There's Aiden in 3rd, Drew in 4th, Andrew there in 5th, as Alex has now dropped down to 6th place.
And we just got under the 10-minute mark, actually just under the 9-minute and 30-second mark. So we are going to see some pit stops here. If no one has gone in for fuel yet, they're going to be forced to stop coming up because they will be running low on fuel. And you know what? We saw King Von have that problem once before. You can't run out of fuel at the last lap. And look, you got to do better than that. You have to.
Well, the nice thing is he's racing so well that we do see Annabelle there getting against the wall, the bumper flapping around on the wind for the time being. But the nice thing for Vaughn is, he's racing so fast right now that he saw him have an issue finding, a way to lap some of those other cars. If he finds himself in that position again, we're now near that 8-minute mark. He can often just stop up, refuel, and hopefully, some of that clears its way up a little bit for him to get back out on that track. At the moment from Pike High School, looking to find a pass potentially, but at the moment stand behind Aiden, trying to find a way around, desperately wants to move up. You love to see the fight and the determination from these students.
Yeah, they are definitely fighting for it. the gloves are off, so to speak, right now, because they are in the mix. If they could talk to each other right now, they would not be exchanging pleasantries, I will tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are IndyCar fans, but I think that was Will Power in the during COVID. They did a couple iRacing races, and finally somebody had to come on the broadcast and say, "Hey, Will, we're on live TV. Can you stop
But that is our man Drew Shield, who we were talking about earlier. They did have a surprise victory at the Phoenix Oval when Vaughn had that last lap incident. And you know what? If you guys have a awards show, you can go ahead and just call that the incident.
That's right.
Well, we're taking a look at your favorite racer there, Hot Sauce. Pablo currently sitting in 7th place. Almost a minute behind Vaughn right now, by the way. Let's just talk about how crazy that is. The difference between 1st place and 8th place is a minute. If we were in IRL racing, that is forever in a day.
Yeah, I mean, just from 1st to 2nd, even 15 seconds is a ton of time in a race like this as well. But King Vaughn continuing to put in the work here for the time being. We will see some of these racers begin to start to pit here as well.
Drew, can you take us through the pit process for this particular race and also the Indiana Esports Network? Is there anything different that our fans at home need to know about?
Yeah, not a whole lot. So we see Pablo come on in for his service. He's going to get, I don't know if he elected to change tires. He might have had some damage and then was required to fix. I'm not sure about that. But he's going to splash up some fuel. Hopefully he put enough in. In iRacing, you do have some options on how much fuel you put in. Obviously, the less fuel you have, the lighter you are, the faster you go. But the easier it is to run out of gas. Looks like Pablo finishes his pit stop service in 23 seconds on my timing screens, and he's back out. Let's see where he cycles back in. Looks like 8th position might be where Pablo cycles back in. But again, he just completed his pit stop. We'll see who else. Many of the drivers around him have already completed their pits. The only 4 drivers that haven't: Vaughn, Jacob, Pike, Drew, and Park Tutor Andrew, as Vaughn is in the pits right now, so he's finishing up the service.
Well,
all right, Alex and Zach, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say,
they're tied. They're tied right now.
He wanted to make sure that he didn't run out of fuel this time, so into the pit they go. And because Andrew and them obviously pitted right behind him, I think that's why we saw the tie on the screen there. But looking to finish up that pit, get right back out. I mean, fastest lap by a lot. We'll see him look to regain that lead. It looks like Jacob is still now a little more than 14 and a half seconds behind him.
Yeah, and that tie has now gone away. Alex is 2 points up from Zach in the standings, 33 to respective 31, but they need to win by more than that. 2 points ain't gonna be enough to get the league championship. And Vaughn is just screaming and dreaming right now as we check in with Zach. Zach making it a clean turn. I really like the way he's looking right there, getting it done. Now, maybe letting that go just a little bit, coming on in that apex, but getting back out.
Yeah, it's tough. I wish I could have seen what happened between Alex and Aiden there. We saw Alex pass Aiden and then unfortunately was in a bit of a small wreck or bump, if you will. But Alex had a nice point lead, was a decent ways in front of Zach, at least more than that 5 points. But because of that little bit of a hiccup, it's allowed Zach to kind of work his way back into this race here. Vaughn's just having a field day out there. I mean, I feel like he's jamming to some good tunes. He's got the wind in the hair, and he's just cruising along, continuing to add seconds to the gap here.
Yeah, he actually has one arm off of the steering wheel, and it's around the other seat, and he's pretending as though he's on a date. I mean, he's just making this look easy right now. And you know what? He has been the fastest. That's why they gave him the moniker King Vaughn. But, again, let's go back to it. Alex doesn't need to play that game. He's only got to play the Alex versus Zach game right now.
Yeah, Get another look on board here with Alex. He's trying to make up a little bit of positions here. Drew from Pike High School just in front of them there. And you can see a couple other cars not too far ahead there as well. Just about 3 to 4 seconds separating those other cars there. So still some time. 3 minutes left on the clock for them to make up a couple additional points here as well. But time is dwindling away. Once that 20 minutes expires, the first across the finish line will be crowned the winner.
Hey, you know what? We've been talking a lot about Vaughn. We've been talking a lot about Alex and all of their teammates, but we haven't talked enough about Jacob. Jacob is sitting really nice in second place. You know what? They've been sitting there pretty much all day long. What do we need to know about Jacob? Because it's not just Vaughn over there as the park tutors, but he's got a whole team with him.
Absolutely. You know, Jacob's a newcomer, a true newcomer to the league. Not just in the spring. So we saw Vaughn last year, and we saw Vaughn, and we saw Andrew Webster from last year. Jacob is an absolute new one, so I don't know a whole lot about Jacob as we ride on board. That was an interesting sequence there we just watched with Alex. So Alex had to deal with some lap traffic as it's coming through the chicane. This could be an interesting. That could be an interesting title decider. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, something happened to Drew from Pike as well. Alex was able to kind of just methodically sneak his way through there and somehow comes out unscathed. So we'll move up to that 4th position here as well. And you take a look at the leaderboard now, you've got Park Tutor in those top 2 spots, but the Carmel crew coming through here in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, retrospectively, Aiden, Alex, Zach.
Well, here we are. We're under 1 minute and 30 seconds left to race. This is down to the nitty-gritty. This is where you show what you're made of. You got to show up and show out and show the rest of the squad what you're made of, and this is where we get it done. Look, as fast as we've seen Vaughn, we've seen the mess-ups in the last laps. So, you know what? It's time to get your head screwed on straight if it wasn't before, because this is what it all comes down to. This is for the chicken nuggets that you guys love in the Code Red Mountain too, as we get another little bump and grind there.
Yeah, I mean,
white flag. This is the last lap.
Yeah.
That chicane, I mean, we talked about it before we even got started. That was going to be the dangerous one, and it really has been for the majority of this race.
Danger zone.
Hey guys, remember that last time when Vaughn had a last lap incident?
Yeah.
Guess who that car was just in that last lap incident?
Oh, no.
Let me guess.
Is it Park Tutor Vaughn?
No, not again.
And you can
just
see
like
the time tumbling from Jacob as he's coming up. Now, I don't know if it's going to be enough to get it, but it looks like Vaughn is slow. We'll see what happens. We are currently on our final lap.
Just like Yogi Berra said, this is deja vu all over again. Can Alex get it done? Will Jacob be able to beat Vaughn in this last lap? Well,
I mean,
only
the time
will
is
tell.
dwindling fast. 6, from 7 to 6. He's making up seconds at a very quickening pace. And for Vaughn, unfortunately, it seems like he can't get that top speed over 80 due to the damage here on the car. So he's really going to have to hold on to this one. Look at the time just dwindle away. Jacob now just 3 seconds from closing in.
And you know what? If their car was in better condition, they might be able to make a go of this.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that huge lead that King Vaughn had, but we see it all dwindling away. And you take a look, Aiden and Alex not too far away as well. Zach is,
there he is,
a little bit further back there, but now you can see him in that background. He's got to get through this last chicane.
Race. Oh, no.
He's coming on the outside, and it looks like
Teammates.
he's going to take him.
Oh, my gosh.
Jacob gets it.
Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. He's got the inside line.
And neck.
No, it's
as
back
we
to
come to the
Vaughn.
finish line. Here we go, guys. The finish line is
King Vaughn on that low side has the lead.
Oh no! He goes through the last chicane.
Who's gonna make it through
there's
this
the
last
Carmel
chicane?
driver for fun. The Carmel driver comes in.
Oh my gosh, the Carmel driver
That's
mixing
Aiden
it
back
up.
there. Aiden is so close, and Vaughn looking to
Aiden
get
might
down to that
try
low
to take
side.
Vaughn out.
Oh, guys, that was an exciting finish. That could have been it as Zach comes through the final chicane here. Zach in 5th spoils his teammates' day.
Yeah, I mean, 35 points apiece there for Alex and Zach. Alex needed 5 on the day to solidify that dub, although still leading substantially in those points. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to be able to hoist that trophy.
But hey, Vaughn was leading by like double figures this entire race, and it came down to less than a second. And that's the excitement of iRacing. Don't count them out until I warm up my vocal pipes.
I mean, honestly, we saw Aiden in the mix there in that last chicane as well, almost cheating in front of Jacob. It actually looked like he had passed him for maybe a millisecond there, but at the end of the day, Park Tudor able to scrounge it out and find those first few places there. To wrap it up, though, I mean, Aiden, Alex, Zach, all right there in the back of that initial first pack. Zach was maybe a little bit significantly more behind Alex, but nonetheless, I mean, third, fourth, and fifth, you got to be happy with that.
And your main man, Pablo, coming in 6th place, so not too shabby for Pablo as well.
Yeah. Kind of as Drew mentioned, one of the, even though maybe a younger driver, one of those more almost veteran-minded drivers, and so making a real smart race. We didn't really see Pablo getting in any accidents. I think got squirrely once around one of those chicanes, but all in all, just some great driving from a lot of the racers here today.
Yep.
And there.
I was just going to say, we talked about how big that lead was from Vaughn. I mean, at one point, 20-something seconds, I think. But you see there, Jacob was just about a little more than a tenth of a second behind him there. And then the rest of the crew not too far behind as well.
Well, there's official race results. Here we go. And I think we'll probably have Vaughn on the phone here in a little bit. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he can find his way to get in. We put the link in the kids' Discord, so hopefully he can grab it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
But race results. Vaughn, Jacob, Park Tudor 1-2. Carmel, Aiden, Carmel, Alex 3-4. Zach from Carmel in 5. 40 seconds behind, but spoiling his teammates' party. Pablo in 6. Kendrick from Union City 7. Drew from Pike 8. Andrew from Park Tudor in 9. Dane from Lake Central in 10. 11 was Bladen from Mooresville. Zach from Ben Davis in 12. Roberto from Pike 13. Annabelle from Hobart in 14. Frank from Ben Davis 15. Axel from Ben Davis 16. Union City Levi 17. Jameson 18. And Ben from Mooresville rounding out our top 19 drivers here in the Indiana Esports Network.
Well, we had a Kendrick. Too bad we didn't have a Drake. We could have had some real controversy out there on the racetrack today if we had a Drake. But you know what? It's just great to see all of these young racers get in there, mix it up, and have some fun. It was a really exciting race today. For a lot of it, Vaughn had that big lead, like we mentioned, but we also had the second race going on, which was between Alex and Zach. So there was a lot happening here. But like we mentioned, all the key players from Park Tudor and Carmel were in the mix today. It was everybody that we talked about would be making a difference, and indeed they did. The next race is indeed the All-Star race before we get to the final race of the season. So anybody who has managed to have a platform finish there will be welcomed into the All-Star game. And then the final race is at Laguna Seca. And that will be where Alex will have their chance to solidify their third league championship.
I mean, that's an insane feat. Just to get back-to-back is an insane feat on its own, but to be able to potentially complete a three-peat here would be absolutely wonderful for Alex. Obviously, his teammates not too far behind are doing very well as well, but you got to be happy for your teammate.
Well, and by the way, I just want to let you know, Drew, do not use three-peat on any marketing, because you do know that Pat Riley owns that turn of phrase.
Oh, no.
It's true. He's owned it since the Lakers.
I did not know that.
No. It's true. You can Google it and everything.
All right, so working here to try and get Vaughn in. Looks like he was in and then had some technical difficulties getting in. Let's see if we can get Vaughn in here for the race. This is one of my favorite parts, actually, of the RotoStream that we run on normal weeks when it's not Stream of the Week, is getting an opportunity to talk to these kids. I think you guys are going to be impressed just hearing this is not a game to these kids. This is very serious. They take this seriously. They take their roles and responsibilities within it seriously, and it should be good. So hopefully we can get Vaughn on the screen here. We're working a little bit behind the scenes with both Vaughn, but also our partners at LandFest, who have done such a great job making our kids look like absolute rock stars. So thank you to LandFest, League OS, Zotac Gaming. I know we had reads earlier, but gosh, I just want to put my thing out there and say how pleased I am as the person in charge of these kids that we get all this great stuff. Guys, this is awesome.
Oh, that will lead into it perfectly, so we can shout out League OS. So, to reminder, if everybody wants to get involved here as well, you want an opportunity, you can go to portal.leagueos.gg and search. And IEN students can also sign in and manage their own prospect profiles. So, there's all kinds of scholarships out there for players, as well as shoutcasters like Logan and I, social media managers. There's all kinds of opportunities, not just for the players or the talent themselves. So we strongly encourage you to go check that out. And
I'm a broadcaster, by the way.
There you go.
I don't know when this shoutcaster thing became a thing. I understood caster because broadcaster may be misogynistic for these kids these days, but they just created their own term, shoutcaster. Kids, stop giving me your own verbiage. I had my own verbiage, and I want to use it.
Because it sounds like you're shouting all the time. We think, so you're just shoutcasting. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, man,
but
I don't know.
I want to just touch base on one thing and let everybody know that LOS Portal is free for students, so don't miss your chance to get discovered. Please visit portalleagueos.gg today and take your game to the next level.
All right. So, Drew, how we doing over there, bud?
We're working on it. So normally the kids operate through a Discord channel and they can just bop into that. So it's a little unsteady. Sometimes schools block or they turn off certain ports. So we have him, but we don't have him quite yet. Working here to the max of my abilities. I am a music teacher. Okay, it looks like we got him. Do we have Vaughn? Are you out there? Vaughn, you coming in? Come talk to us.
Sounds like one of those ghost shows right now. Vaughn, if you're out there, can you say something? No, touch me on the shoulder, Vaughn. Let me know you're there.
All right. Looks like we've got King Vaughn in here. Welcome in, King Vaughn.
Thank you. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. It was a lot of fun to get to watch you race out there. We got a little bit of intel from behind the scenes that you were King Vaughn. You've been dominating. I think my first question for you is, what was going through your head? Because you've led in now 5 of the last races. You ran out of fuel in one. You had a mishap at the end, bumping into some cars. Late in this race, the same thing during that chicane. You had a little bit of a mishap with some of those lap cars. You couldn't quite get back up to top speed. People were gaining seconds on you very, very quickly. What was going through your mind at that moment there?
First of all, a lot was going on. The thing that really kept going back to me is how quickly these races can change. That's part of the fun. Well, as much as you can plan for everything going on, you really are not in control of what the race happens. So much can happen in such a short time that you just have to adapt the way you can and make the most of it. So this race, but as you were saying, the last two have always had something happen. Last couple of laps, they had some random thing happen. So I knew with this one, I just kept a clean head the last couple of laps. Then I would be able to come in with a win. So I thought I was able to do that. And then as we were catching the lap cars into the last chicane, they all stacked up really, really quick. And then I got the front left wheel damage. So so it was almost like a Lewis Hamilton flashback to 2020, him and Silverstone with that last lap. So it was fun. I mean, I could not turn right at all in the last lap, so I was just praying that I could get to the end in time. Jacob caught me at the end, and he was an amazing teammate and knew how the race went, and then let me get the win as well. But it was close across the line, yeah. So I mean, end of the day, you can try to plan as much as you can for these things, but anything can happen.
I love the response. Honestly, it made it very, very exciting, and it's interesting because we weren't sure how well, if you're competing against your teammate there as well, but you talked about him kind of helping you out a little bit there at the end, which is absolutely amazing to see and great to hear as well. So I do appreciate that insight. That was a ton of fun to watch and to get the cast as well.
Hey, Vaughn, like we always do on the normal stream, hey, if you got to say thanks to anybody, what sponsors do you get to thank today? Who are you saying thanks to?
Today, well, of course, first off, my teammates. I mean, literally, people always say you can't win this race without them, but this one literally cannot win this race without Jacob. So, of course, my teammates for making it a fun time and having someone to race with us always. My school sponsor as well, Dr. McDougall, for letting this program happen. And, of course, my parents as well for putting up with all my comments upstairs and to come up from the races and everything. So, so much help from everyone. To be here all night for thanking everyone.
All right. So are you
Amazing.
going to be here for next season?
So I'm a senior this year, so I don't think
That's
I'll be
what I
able to.
figured. So we're not going to get a chance to see what plays out between you and Alex next season, because Alex has a really good opportunity of bringing home the three-peat. Hey, Pat Riley, don't be coming after me, all right? And it would be interesting to be able to see you guys go full at it for a full season and see what happens, because it looks like from where I'm sitting or standing, depending on the given day, nobody's faster than you.
Well, I mean, it would be fun to see. I mean, you're right that I've only been competing a half season so far. So I know when I'm not there, Alex is dominating, so it's fun to kind of come in halfway through and switch things up. I've had some chats with Alex off stream as well, and he seems like an amazing kid. So it'd be really fun to have a full season to compete with him. But unfortunately, it's going to be a cliffhanger now. We're not sure what's actually going to happen.
I honestly, I think that's amazing too, because Drew kind of touched base on it, but I think that's something that's special about the iRacing community because, you obviously have the teammates that you talk to, but the fact that you talk to the other schools as well, the other students from other schools, and you guys have kind of like that close-knit network and you're able to have those conversations is amazing because I cast a lot of other different titles as well, and you don't always kind of get that luxury or whatever you want to call it. So that is truly, truly great to see.
No, for sure. It's certainly a small family, but it's a close family for sure. I mean, we all just have a passion for racing, and that passion's strong, so it really helps those conversations.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, so what's next for you then? Are you pursuing some opportunities in the collegiate scene for iRacing, or have you thought about what is next now that you're a senior?
Yeah, I have. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go to school yet, so I'm not sure what collegiate options for iRacing there are. I've been talking to Alex even. He's actually suggested some collegiate series to compete in. So if those are an opportunity racing, of course, do that. But I'm mainly focused on, of course, real life racing as well with that transition to college. But if there's opportunity to compete in collegiate iRacing, 100% we'll jump on the opportunity.
Absolutely amazing. So then what about the the IRL racing? What are we looking for? Is there a specific style of car that you enjoy or would look to kind of get into, or what are your thoughts on that?
For sure. Yeah. So this season, I had the chance to test some F4 cars out. So they just released a new chassis for this year as well. So if we have an opportunity to run some of those races this year, that'll be amazing. I'm not hard set yet on what series I want to run. Of course, F4 as I've already tested it. But also I'm really taking a liking to the Trans Am series as well. So hoping to test some of those cars and see where that can go.
Awesome. I definitely appreciate you sharing with us here today.
Of course, anytime.
Well, Drew, anything else for us here? Any other questions that you or Logan might have for our shining star of the day, King Von?
I'll tell you what, I'm proud of the guy. Comes in, wins all these races, refuses to elaborate, and leaves. Congratulations, Vaughn. Excellent job. Super proud of you, man.
All right. Thank you guys for putting on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. It's always great to hear from students as well, and to kind of get their outlook on things, and it's funny, like, there's a lot that we can learn from these students as well. Sometimes you hear them, talking and they're smarter than a lot of the adults that I've come across in my everyday life. So it's fun to get their perspective and their outlook and how well they have, on not just the iRacing as a whole, but the things off the field as well. Like you talked about, talking about Alex is a great kid and they've helped each other, and Alex even pointing him in the right direction for the collegiate scene.
Absolutely. You hear a lot of talk these days about kids and how awful kids are, and the future generation is doomed. And I feel really privileged to be in the position that I'm in. Both I teach middle school, but I also get to work with the high school students in iRacing. And guys, there's a lot of good in this world. And I think opportunities and programs like this are so incredibly important for children because it showcases the best of who we are and the best of who we're soon going to be.
Yeah, I do a lot of work with other high schools as well, and I kind of stole a stat from you last year. I know last year you had kind of let us know that it was roughly around like 40% or something of students who didn't previously participate in an extracurricular activity now have an opportunity and are doing so. So it's so great to see kids getting more opportunities, and now these opportunities even leading to potential scholarships or other ways to kind of further and better their career in life.
Absolutely. The league, we had our Indiana Esports Network meeting last night, and the league had the head of the board, president of the board of directors for the Indiana Esports Network, came on there and he said that when he started up his esports program, grades were pretty low, and because of esports and starting up, they would have maybe 20-30% of kids with Fs on their grade cards. Every time they open that up and require kids to pass classes, participate in esports, that drops to 0. Every kid's passing every class. And guys, is that not the greatest thing in the world?
Amazing.
We've got these video games out there that are making kids better in school. Come on now, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, it's great to see, because when I grew up, it was get off that, go outside. I don't know how it was for everybody else, but and outside's still good. I enjoy outside, but there's a lot of good things that can be used, a lot of good tools and assets that can be used in gaming in partnership with schools.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Logan, is there anything else you'd like to add before I send this off here, my friend?
No, I don't have anything to add because I don't have any kids, because I don't like lying to little people. But it is great to see everybody come in here, get together, work as a team, and there's a great support system there. Thank you to Drew for putting that all together, and thank you to LandFest, Zotac Gaming, and the LOS portal as well. Nope, that's it. That's all I got, kids. Stick a fork in me. I'm done.
Yeah, well, we definitely appreciate everybody's time here today. I would like to take a moment to thank everybody behind the scenes here at LandFest. Connie, Jade, and Taylor for helping run the production so smoothly, the observing everything as well. Drew, what you do is absolutely amazing. The fact that you do it for students and the young generation as well, we truly appreciate that. It's wonderful to see that they have such a great person to kind of confide in. So, but with that being said, guys, that's all for us here today at IEN. We certainly appreciate all of your time there watching and chat as well. The legend in the middle is Drew. Way over there on the far digital right is Logan. My name is Hot Sauce. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Take care and have a wonderful evening.